see some of you in the house this evening. My love, my dove, my undefiled. My sugar pie, honey bunch, you know how much I love you. I can't help myself. I love you, no one else. Mike. So thank you for being with me. Oh, and she took my wallet. There it is. There it is. Let me just encourage you in a couple of things. One is when Jesus ascended on high, Ephesians said that he gave gifts to men. He gave some to be apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors and teachers. And the way you treat a gift is very important. It shows, you can keep playing, I'm not there yet. Corey, you got a minute to play? All right. If you're attending, you can bring Daniel with you. You can come sit over here and play too. But anyway, think about it. The way you treat the gift is really an indication of how you treat the giver. And so when we understand what goes on from a pastoral standpoint, a lot of times we've not taken the time to treat the gift like we need to treat them. And I'm not talking about all this fake stuff. The level of honor comes from the heart. Bishop Owens, Alfred Owens says you need to pray for your pastor. You need to protect your pastor. You need to provide for your pastor. All of those things are very, very important, because when we're talking about pastoral ministry, a lot of times we don't receive the best from pastoral ministry because we don't understand the purpose of a pastor. And so anytime there's a purpose that's misunderstood, abuse is inevitable. A pastor is to lead you, to feed you. When you're talking about a pastor is to make sure that he guides you. A pastor is there. And so I want to encourage you, treat your pastor right. Amen. Pray, all right? Treat your pastor right. Yes, that's right. Everybody's going to come after you if you don't. All right? Amen. Amen. Hallelujah. What key are you in? To worship you I live. Yeah. Yes. To worship you I live. I live to worship you. Yes. Yes. To worship you I live. To worship you I live to worship you. To worship you I live. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just wanna tell you, Lord, I love you. More than popularity, more than having more friends on Facebook. Lord, I love you more than anything. More than having the biggest church, more than having the biggest ministry. Lord, I love you. Lord, I love you more than anything. Father, we love you with all of our hearts, with all of our souls. We thank you so much. Holy Spirit, I don't believe that anything happens by chance, and so we're here at your command. And so, sir, we yield ourselves to you, and we ask you to accomplish your will today. Your word is already anointed. It's men that need the anointing. So grant a fresh anointing for us to hear and receive and do your word. Also a fresh anointing to minister, to teach, to preach, proclaim your word. Thank you for causing us to be clear, be accurate. Thank you, Lord, for spirit and truth. I pray in Jesus' name that you begin to release a new freedom in this place, so that truth and spirit will commingle together and cause lives to be free, so that people can love you with all of their hearts. Thank you so much. I pray your blessing upon Pastors Buckmeyer. Let your grace rest upon them. Thank you for 11 years of ministry. Thank you for all that you do. Help me to add value. Use me to add value to them today in Jesus' name. Amen. Lord, I love you. Let me just say this to you while I have the mic. And that is, when you're talking about worshiping in spirit and in truth, you know, God seeks, like you said, he seeks worshipers. I do believe that there is a commingling of spirit and truth. When we're talking about worship, you know, we get all these, we complicate it. And it's really, worship is a natural response to the presence of Jesus. Period. It's a natural response to the presence of the Lord. A lot of times we try to get people to worship without the Lord. But if you get in here, every time I see in the Word where God showed up, people fell down and did some everything. It wasn't hard to worship. So you get in here, and so, but what it's going to require is this: spirit and truth. And that's not my message today. I'm getting to that. And that is the truth of who you are. There has to be a level of honesty in your life about who you are, recognizing also the truth of who God is. And when you're talking about deep calling unto deep, the deep in you, the depths of you, saying, God, this is who I am. I'm pulling off the mask. I'm pulling off my church suit. I'm pulling off all other stuff to try to be impressive to people and all that kind of stuff. And all I want is you. It doesn't matter when you just say, all I want is you. Listen, take everything else, take all the boys, the accolades and all this kind of stuff. You can wear I got the biggest church badge, all this kind of stuff, but all I want is you. See, when it comes down to it, Jesus is the one deserving. Jesus is our Savior. Jesus is the one who sits on the throne. Jesus is the one who is deserving all the accolades, all of the honor. At one point, every nation is going to bow down. This is where we cast out. Listen, the best of you, you cast down before Him, saying, all I want is you. Amen. Let that be this environment. People can come in and offer themselves to Him. He's the difference maker. He's the difference maker. The danger about ministry is you can do it without Him. You can learn how to preach. You can learn how to string together some words. But all I want is you. See, when His presence begins to come into a place, man has to bow down, has to back up. And there's an authority that rests with Him. All I want is you. He's the game changer. He's the one. He's the one. Oh, when it's all said, when it's all done, may He get the glory. May He get the honor. May His name be praised. Let it not be about us.
Yes, Lord.
If there's nothing in you that loves Him, you're in the wrong business, the wrong place. But He's my champion. He's my king. See, there's something about the transforming presence of the Lord that changes not just heads, but it changes hearts. Because you can counsel people till you're blue in the face. But the truth of the matter, and nothing's wrong with counseling. We do counseling. Nothing's wrong with that. But it has to be under His authority and His presence. Thank you, Lord. All I want is you. Thank you, Lord. All right. Glory to Jesus. Glory to Jesus. My God. One of the things that we'll have to understand is this. We have to get comfortable with His presence. And what I mean is this. A lot of times, we don't know what to do with silence. We don't know what to do. We don't know because we're so used to performing. We don't know how to respond. We don't know how to love Him. We don't know how to just be. He didn't call you to be a human being. He called you to be a human being. He called you to Him. And listen, any work that you do for Him, the prerequisite is that you be with Him. Your first calling is with Him. I do have a text, and I'm going to get to it. I really do. But something I heard Apostle Scales say, he said, a lot of times we long for the limelight, We long to minister to more and more people. But do you realize in the book of Ezekiel, the priesthood that was relegated to minister to the people were a penalized priesthood. And a penalized priesthood could only minister to people. They could never minister to the Lord. And so don't aspire
That's good, Apostle.
to the lowest level. And you think that's the highest thing that all this folk. But God said, you can't come in conference because of your lifestyle, because of what you're doing, because I can't take all of that. So that's why we have to say, God, I'm yours, I'm available, whether I'm before thousands or whether I'm before one. I just simply want to obey you. We're under his command. Yours to command. Yours to command.
Thank you, Father.
All I want is you. All right. I know we've been in church a long time, so let me go ahead and finish. All right. Hallelujah. This is a worshiping place, so y'all got to go on and on. Y'all have this, and I'm going to let y'all shout my preaching. All right. Amen. The book of Joshua, chapter number 21. If you want to, you can receive this as prophetic. If you want to. Beginning at verse number 43, and I'm reading from a New King James Version. Joshua 21 and 43. So the Lord gave to Israel all the land of which he had sworn to give to their fathers. And they took possession of it and dwelt in it. The Lord gave them rest all around according to all that he had sworn to their fathers. And not a man of all their enemies stood against them. The Lord delivered all their enemies into their hands. Verse number 45. Not a word failed of any good thing which the Lord had spoken to the house of Israel. All came to pass. Verse 45 again. Not a word failed of any good thing which the Lord had spoken to spirit and truth. All came to pass. Let me go ahead and put your name in there, because I know he's like, I'm going to get in on this one. You come on, I'm going to come on, say, I'm going to be greedy today. I'm going to be greedy today. Come on, let's read together. Not a word fail of any good thing which the Lord had spoken. And shout your name. And just say, all came to pass. The Lord has spoken to name the So if I just had just a simple instruction, you guys see. Just a simple word of encouragement. Just simple words. That's all I came to my assignment today. Just very simple. I'm going to wax simple today. Here it is. Here's the word for you. In order for this to happen, in order for this to be a reality, just keep going. All right? Good. That's what I'm, come on, say it. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Some things you're just going to outlast. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I'm about to shout up here.
My God.
Keep going. I'm sure there are ministries that started out right along with you. But you kept going. All right, let's get into it. Let's get it, because I know I have some scholars in the room. Let's get some facts here. When we look at this, the overview of the book of Joshua, Joshua is the book of conquest. When we look at it, it's talking about crossing into the land, taking the land, dividing the land, and serving the Lord in the land. That's the big overview of the book of Joshua. Crossing into the land, taking the land, dividing the land, and serving the Lord in the land. And so we have to understand that when we get a word like this, we have the privilege of reading Joshua's life from the back end. And so here is Joshua looking back over his life and saying what has transpired during his life. So that's what's going on here. So my thinking is, okay, I'm asking questions of the text. Joshua, how did you get there? Because I want to look back over my life and say, and it all came to pass. Not one word failed. Not a word failed. So my question is not what happened. I want to know why. What did he do? What were some of the things that happened to Joshua that perhaps we can glean from to help us to get to this point where we look back over our lives and say, it all came to pass? I submit to you, to keep going, this is what you're going to need. The first thing you're going to need is a promise.
Yeah. All right.
Now, notice in verse number 43, it says, so the Lord gave to Israel all the land which he had sworn to give their fathers. Listen to me. He had a promise that he had to possess. You and I need a promise. Think about Joshua's life. Joshua is the servant of Moses. When we open the book of Joshua, Joshua chapter 1, you see Moses' funeral, the shortest eulogy. Moses is dead. As great as Moses was, that's the funeral we're going to give you. And it's so, he said, God said, I'm not going to even give you a chance to bury him. He just took the body. So, Joshua received this promise. He said, Moses is dead. Now, therefore, arise, you go over this Jordan, you and all this people, which the land I'm giving to them, to the children of Israel. So this is his lot. He's come on the scene when a leader, a national leader, I'm talking about Moses, y'all, the big guy, wrote the law. He comes on the scene to follow Moses. And check this out. Now Joshua has a new generation emerging. And then God had to remind them of his promise. I'm amazed at what you'll do for a promise. My I'm just amazed at what you'll do for a promise. A promise can give you hope. And listen to me. A promise is really only as good as the promiser. Because you got some folk, they'll tell you, I'm going to be there and I'm going to do this, and you just say, stop lying, don't even start.
Right.
I know you. I know, but you know, there are some people who said, this is what I'm going to do for you. And what it does, it creates a level of expectation on the inside of it. I don't know, brother, if I said what I'm going to give you a brand new bass.
Well.
You know what I'm saying? That would be something. And I'm going to give you, okay, let's back, because I don't know you that well. But let's just say, give me my wallet.
All right.
I'm going to give you $100. Now, you and I haven't had any conversation. All you have is the word.
All right now.
All right. Now, what you saw created a little bit more hope because you saw him bring my wallet. Oh, you understand what I'm saying? When you saw me get my wallet, something said, this is more than preacher talk. Now, if I just say, okay, this is what I want you right now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm making a promise. Okay, I'm a man of my word. I try to be a person of integrity. And since I said I'm going to give you $100. About to come, that'll begin to birth hope on the inside of you. Come on, shout a promise. Promise can keep you going. Joshua had a promise. Use it right. Now, when you look, not only do you need a promise to keep going, because I got to get on out here. Clark took my time. So now, you need to pursue. Come on, say pursue. Pursue. Check this out. Joshua had this promise, but it says that they had the promise, and the latter part of 43, they took possession of it to dwell in it. To take possession, listen to this, it means to drive out the previous tenants and occupy. Wait. So, wait. The promise that God gave Joshua was in somebody else's hand. They didn't know that it belonged to Joshua. But Joshua knew that it belonged to him. And he had to have the courage, he had to man up and then pursue what God had promised him. And not listen to it. It says he took possession. Not just took possession, says he dwelled in it. To dwell in it there means to sit down, settle in, and remain. You have to go to the place that God has given you, that promise that God has given you, and God says you got to sit down in it. Not just visit it, sit down, settle in it, and remain in it. There are some of you, listen to me, you dabble in and out of your promise. You dabble in and out of your promise. God has already said this about you, declared this about you, but you going back and forth. Go ahead and agree with God and not your feelings. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You've got to go ahead and agree with God. Now, listen. You will never achieve what you're unwilling to pursue. Pastor Clark said God spoke to him about that house. Thank you for sharing the story. I'll mess with him because he's a friend. All right. But think about it. If he had not gone to the courthouse, if he had not made the call, all those things are necessary. My question today is, what do you need to pursue?
Come on.
What do you need to pursue? And we'll never achieve anything that we're unwilling to pursue. Listen to me. Pursuit is proof of desire. Are you hearing me? I've been married now. We'll be married 28 years in December. Amen. So I came here as a single man, playing the organ, minister music, and that kind of thing. And so here I am, sitting at she was in the choir and everything. But we was just going on. But one day I had a John the Baptist experience. Well, John said, "Behold the Lamb of God." And one day I was sitting in the organ. It was a sizable church. And I was sitting at the organ and the back doors of the church swing open. And then here walks this woman, and I'm in the spirit, and I said to the guy in the organ pit, I said, "Who is that?" Oh, you feel what I'm saying? And then they said, "That's Deanne." Proof of desire. Desire is the thing that if you really desire something, you'll pursue it. And from that day on, I start pursuing. And then she finally caught me. What pursuit will do is this. Pursuit will provide you focus. Pursuit will give you a level of focus that it will cause you to say, okay, I don't want this, I want that. And I don't want this, I want that. I want this particular thing. Many of us are shooting like a shotgun, and we don't have this laser focus that we need. As a result, we're not obtaining the promise that God has given to us. And so God gives you a promise, but our responsibility is to pursue that promise. So my charge to you today, go get what God promised you. Go get it, go get it, go get it. Nudge somebody and say, go get what God promised you. Why in the world it does not bring God any glory for you to leave it untaken, unobtained. God said, this is what I have for you. And listen to me. What happens is this. As you pursue the promise, God is pursuing you. And you'll be amazed at your development as you pursue what God has for you. Because there are some of us, we get in this place called comfortable and complacent. And not, there's a difference between comfortable, complacent, and content. And so God wants you to be content, but He doesn't call you to comfortable. He doesn't call you to be complacent. And so there has to be a pursuit. Quit saying, I'm just so old now. I'm just, I don't have this money. Shut up. Stop talking yourself out of the promise. You're going to get a harvest on those words. So there has to be a promise. There has to be pursuit. And now, and you all forgive me, I'm getting ready to say a curse word. Here in spirit and truth. And you can clean it up when I finish. I know you all are praying people. We got all these pastors here. And so y'all forgive me for this. curse word that I'm getting ready to say, because it really is there. Okay? You'll be mature about it? Yes. You won't put me out the body of Christ? No. Okay, here's the word. In addition to a promise, you need to pursue. Here's the curse word. You need patience.
That's a hurtful word.
I can't believe he said that in the house of the Lord. I said that bad word. Come on, say patience. Come on, say, Lord, give me patience and give it to me now. That's how we like it. Lord, give me patience and give it to me now. All right. Where do you get that from? Where do you get that from? When you look at the text, it says the Lord gave them rest around, verse number 44, according to all that he had sworn to their fathers. And not a man of their enemies stood against them. The Lord delivered all their enemies into their hands. Now, wait a minute. So there was a space of time between when the promise was given and when it was fulfilled.
That's right. That's right.
So what we have to understand is this. You and I have to give God time. Give him time and let him do what he needs to do. Give God time. That requires patience. Let me tell you something. Saul's impatience cost him the kingdom. Because he would not wait on sin.
Amen. Come on.
And he said, I'm snatching the kingdom out of your hand. Joshua had to be patient. Listen to this. Joshua had to be patient as another leader finished their assignment. Y'all didn't hear that? Did you hear that? Because he was Moses' servant. And God had a promise to Moses that he's going to fulfill. Joshua, I got you in the wing right there. You ready to go on, but you can't go just yet. I'm anointed for my tomorrow, but I can't get there right now because I got to wait on Brother Moses to finish his assignment. I can preach better than Moses. I can lead better than Moses. I'm younger than Moses. I got more strength than Moses. I haven't forsaken God. I haven't done that. But you gotta wait. Wait on Moses to finish his assignment. Your time's gonna come. Listen to this. Not only did he have to wait on Moses, another leader, to finish their assignment, but he also had to be patient as doubters of the promise had to die. Joshua was one of the 12 spies that went in under Moses' leadership to encourage a nation to take the promise, and everybody came back negative Nancy.
Yes, they did.
My God.
Powerful Henry, doubting David, showed up and said, we like grasshoppers. And God said, I'm going to kill them all. Every last one of them. I'm going to kill them and I'm going to kill them all. And Joshua had to be patient as an entire generation died.
Yes.
There's time between when the promise is given and when that promise is fulfilled. Wait a minute. Joshua had to be patient as God prepared him for the promise. When you look at chapter number 1, he told him over and over. Pastor Kirk, he said this. Be strong and courageous. Strong and courageous. Strong and courageous. Strong and courageous. Apparently, this was something that God had to build in Joshua so that he could do what he was assigned to do. Although he had previously warred, but he had not led. There's a difference in being strong and courageous as a leader. Because now it's one thing you're out there swinging and fighting, but it's another thing it says we're getting ready to go fight them.
That's right. That's good.
And so he had to be developed. And a lot of times this is where we go ahead of God rather than waiting on God to develop us. develop our character so that when you get there, your gift won't take you. Come on. Or your character can't keep you. So he had to be patient. Listen to this. He had to be patient. Y'all okay? I know I'm doing a lot of bad words, saying a lot of bad words over and over. Patient. God had to prepare the new generation.
My Lord.
All the old ones had died, and there arose a generation that did not know the Lord.
Jesus.
Joshua had to circumcise all them jokers. There was an uncircumcised nation. And Joshua was the one responsible for it. You got to teach him my ways. You got to teach him my ways. Now listen to me. Listen to me. Leaders, listen to me. Listen to me. Especially if you are over 35. I'll say it right there. You have to be patient with the next generation. Because before, you weren't always where you are.
Amen.
And you got to circumcise the heart of the next generation to prepare them to receive the promise. There are some things you just do as second nature. You know exactly what to do. You know how to do it. You know when to do it and all this because you've been doing this for so long right now. And it's going to take them a little bit longer. They're going to sit up there and you go, you're going to ask them, why did you do that? Why did you say that? But again, that's where the training comes in. Everybody said be patient. Be patient. All right, y'all was shouting a minute ago. Now, here's this. Joshua had to be patient because the people holding the promise had to realize that it's not theirs. Okay. You remember when he said Rahab, when they went up to Rahab's house and they said, okay, and finally the news came about, we believe that God is giving you this land. So they finally got the message. Oh, God's going to take us out of this place. Let me go on. And here's the thing. You have to be patient because Joshua had to literally conquer 31 kings. 31. You said, where you get that from? Jot this scripture down. When you look at Joshua chapter 12, verse 24, you can jot it down, read it in your own time. This is my time. 12:24. But hear this. 31 kings. So listen, that's why you can't compare yourself to everybody. Because listen, you have somebody that's been on the journey and they have been patient and they have gotten to king number 30 and they're getting ready to slaughter 31 and walk in the fullness of their promise. You are on number 16.
My Lord.
You are, and you sitting there comparing yourself to somebody that's already slain 30 kings and getting ready to slay 31 and walk in the fullness of what, and here you are at 16. I don't know what you're doing for me, God. I don't know. Shut up. That's a holy word right there. Shut up. Quit belly aching. Quit talking and be patient.
Right. Yes, sir.
But could it be
Yeah.
that you're on 31?
Yeah.
And you ready? All right. Now. I told you, what do we need to keep going? I told you need a promise. You need to. And here's the last thing. Here's the last thing. I like to say, here's my first close. You need to rely on God's power. God's power. Because the text says, the middle of 44, started 44, the Lord gave them rest all around, according to all that He sworn to their fathers. And not a man of all their enemies stood against them. The Lord delivered their enemies into their hands. The Lord delivered all of the enemies into their hands. There are some victories God has reserved in your life for Himself. And He said, this is what's going to happen. This one, you won't be able to say, I use my influence and my connections. Well, this is what I'm doing to let you see personally the good hand of God on your life. Clark told his story. I tell one of mine.
Amen.
Here we were. We had purchased, I think we're getting ready to buy a piece of property. We were in a church building. We're getting ready to buy a piece of property to build a church building. Actually, we're closing on the property. And we got to the closing table, and they said you need an additional $10,000 on that particular thing. And I said, okay, well, and they said, because you have a good relationship with us, we'll just add that into the loan. And I said, okay, and we closed on it. And we said, what we'll do is just pay us back that $10,000 in 90 days. It's fine. We were at a place. It's no problem. We'll do that. And I got up Sunday morning. I told the church, I said, look, we've closed on the property because we had already scheduled to march to our new site and all this. And I just said in passing, I said, you know, it sure would. I said, we took a $10,000 90-day loan just to do that. I said, it sure would be good to just pay that off. Just knock it out like that. So we marched to the property, come back, and then my wife was looking through. She was part of the accounting team, looking through the envelopes, and there was an unmarked envelope.
Jesus.
The very last one.
Jesus.
With the $10,000 check.
Look at God.
Wait a minute, I got another one. I'm talking about showing you the good hand of God on your side. I mean, I'm sitting in my office one day, Elder Frank, and I hear, first I hear, ah! Scream from my wife. And I was like, oh God, you know, that's alarming. You hear a scream in the office. And then I heard, thank you! And it was all right. One check, $35,000. You hear what I'm saying? That's showing you the good hand of God on your life. And what I'm getting at is this. See, you got to expect God's power. You got to expect God's good hand to be upon you to get the thing done. And I'm telling you, if God promised you something, wrapped up in the promise is the provision for the thing that He promised. You don't have to sweat it. There's some of you, you're just sweating and sweating and sweating. Could it be you're sweating so much because you don't have a real promise? You have a human aspiration, not a God-given promise. And you have to have discernment to discern between the two. See, I can't build because brother so-and-so built or sister so-and-so built. I can't drive this to make myself feel good or all this kind of stuff. No. I've got to make sure I have a God-given promise and then wait on God's power to fulfill the promise. God said, what He did with Joshua, not one of the enemies were able to stand against him. All your haters are going to fall. All of the naysayers are going to fall. Are you hearing me? Let me close it out. Let me close out. Here's my last official close. Here we go. We finally got to verse 45. Not a word failed. Not a word. Wait. Here is God. Come here, English people. Writing out a sentence. The sentence contains words. The text says, every word that God said is so powerful